Ben Mankiewicz, TYT Sports. Sad news this morning. Tony Gwynn, the head baseball coach at San Diego State, the greatest San Diego Padre to ever suit up, died, age 54. 3,141 hits, a 338 career batting average, his entire career with the Padres, in a moment of great symmetry for baseball. He went into the Hall of Fame in 2007 along with Cal Ripken, both of whom had spent their entire careers with one team. The Padres actually made the postseason twice, significant runs during, made the World Series twice during Gwynn's time there, 1984. Losing to that terrific Tiger team, and in 1998 being swept by a dominant Yankee team. But Tony Gwynn hit 500 in that World Series against the Yankees, by the way, in '98. That was a dominant defeat for the Padres, a dominant win for the Yankees. 5'11", 215 pounds, and I would want to check that scale, at least toward the end of his career. He was fast. He was a brilliant right fielder. You forget all the other things that he could do. He could draw a walk. He struck out in many seasons fewer than 25 times. In 1984, when he hit 351 and the Padres won the National League pennant and played in that World Series against the Tigers, stole 33 bases. He struck out 20. He hit 351. He struck out 23 times in 606 at bats. So whatever it was, I don't have it in front of me. 670 plate appearances. Struck out 23 times. Was a remarkable player. He's been undergoing treatment for salivary gland cancer. He'd had a number of surgeries. His disease dates back to 2009. He blames it on chewing tobacco. So, if you're a ball player out there and you still chew, come on. Chew some gum, spit sunflower seeds, scratch yourself, do something else. Don't chew tobacco. The evidence is in, and it's overwhelming. It's not anecdotal stories about Tony Gwynn. The evidence is in. Over the weekend, the San Diego State announced that they had signed him to a one-year extension, and they named the associate head coach, whose name I think is Mark Martinez, to be like they elevated him. He also received an extension at the same time. I wondered when I read that, as I'm sure many people did, if that was by but I took it to be, I wanted it to be good news, and I took it to be good news that they were hoping he'd be back. They said they want to see how the treatments go. Then what it sounds like is that they knew the end was near, and they did a nice thing. No matter what, it's good on San Diego State, whatever the motivation was, to extend a guy who'd been absent from the team since last spring, who went back and coached his alma mater and was really the best left-handed hitter of his generation. He met with Ted Williams, whose hitting style he'd idolized, another obviously great left-handed hitter in Ted Williams, and they talked hitting, and those are, conversations that every baseball fan would want to hear and be part of. And Williams told him to drive the ball more, but he didn't want to, hit more balls out of the park. I think he had one nice year for home runs, but I think it was 1987 when everybody had a nice year for home runs. It seemed pretty clear that, like what they'd said about Ichiro, that if Tony Gwynn had wanted to be a power hitter, he might have been able to hit 20 home runs a year, but he would have pulled the ball more, and he would have grounded out more. He was also, and he didn't want to change his style even after meeting with Ted Williams. He wanted to be who he was, and he ended up a 338 career hitter and more than 3,100 hits.
And on Tony Gwynn, looking at the strikeout rate again, in 9,288 career at-bats, he struck out 434 times, which comes out to a 29 per season strikeout average.
Guy had nearly 10,000. How many walks do you have?
Walks career 790.
So the guy had 10,000 plate appearances, and he struck out 400 times. He's facing major league pitchers. It's really everything about him is amazing. And one last thing about Tony Gwynn is that now in every clubhouse, most teams not only have a hitting coach who has to be an expert in video. My favorite player, Mitchell Page, was leading the way in studying video of every hitter after every at-bat during games too. But most teams will have a hitting coach who understands video. They'll also have an assistant hitting coach to sometimes get that video ready to show guys during the game. And that really started with Tony Gwynn. Tony Gwynn, when he was playing, would have his wife back home in San Diego record the game on the VCR or the Betamax perhaps, and then they would edit it together so he could watch all his at-bats. And if he looked bad, if he flailed, if he waved at a curveball, the New York Times obit said he'd just delete that. He had no interest in seeing what he did wrong, but he always studied what he did right. It worked. He was an easy guy to root for, an easy guy for baseball fans to relate to, because he didn't look like an athlete, but he was a great one. And it's really sad that Tony Gwynn is gone.